Hi Gemini, and welcome to your April 2017 energy reading. This is for Sun, Moon and Rising. April brings the beginning of a new season, spring in the Northern Hemisphere, autumn in the summer. I hope it's a good time period for you. It also talks of a new celestial year and a new celestial 9-year cycle. Things that we work on now and set foundations in could be for the long term. Prior to coming online, I have shaken a Feng Shui fortune telling stick. Just shake them all, one comes out. Each stick has a snippet of information on it. The stick we received was the number 30. The snippet is: you will be presented with an advantageous opportunity. The number 3. The number 3, in relation to the major arcana, brings us to the Empress. Now, the Empress talks about fertility, abundance, and material wealth. We talk about our feminine attributes. Maternal care, creativity in all things, security and growth, marriage, pregnancy, or news of a birth. These could all be relevant within this month. The 3rd day or the 30th may be of significance to you. In numerology, the threes talk about spiritual significance, a superhuman element. It talks of being a spiritual being having a human existence. The 3rd house on the zodiac chart is ruled by Gemini, which we're talking about yourselves. So we're talking about communication, travel, transportation, neighbours, siblings, self-expression. These may be all areas that we're looking at in April. With that said, we'll go on and do your reading. Cards I'm using today are my Mythic Tarot, my original 1980s deck, used very often, as you can see, but still my favourite to date. The reading I'm going to do, I call Messages to Ourselves. It contains 12 cards, 3 cards being pulled in respect of spirit, 3 cards in respect of body, 3 cards in respect of heart, and 3 cards in respect of soul. These 3 cards, 3 messages. Things we need to acknowledge, things we need to focus on, or things that we need to accept a pat on the back for. We've already accomplished. So, for the first line, messages from Spirit. These are messages from our higher self, our intuition, spirit guides, whatever you feel connects you to the collective unconscious. The second line, we're looking for 3 messages from regarding the body, the physical. 3 messages of what we have to physically do, what physical state of being we are in, or what is physically happening around us. 3 messages for Gemini for April 2017, please. On the third line, we're looking at 3 messages from our heart. What does our heart want us to acknowledge or recognise in the month of April? And the final 3 cards are 3 cards from our soul. What do our soul want Gemini to recognise or acknowledge in the month of April for our soul's path, our soul journey? Okay, at the bottom of the deck we have the 3 of Swords. Probably the card that's my least favourite of the deck. The 3 of Swords talks about a heartache. It talks about love triangles. Maybe we are in a love triangle. Maybe we're unaware of it. Maybe we're the one who's being deceived by someone having a third party involvement. That usually is where this card jumps to. It can talk about getting over a heartache or something that emotionally tore us apart. Not necessarily a relationship. It could be the death of a loved one and we're still recovering. It could be the breakdown of many things, but something that tore your heart apart and caused a lot of heartache. Maybe we know a relationship is not working, be it a loving relationship, partnership, or a family commitment, or even a friendship. But something has to end. And it's going to be a painful ending, but it has to be done. Let's see how that comes along with the other stories, the other messages that are being brought. So, messages from our soul. The first card we've got is the 5 of Wands. The 5 of Wands talks about conflict. It talks about opposition. It talks about having to defend who we are and where we are. Maybe defending our passions. Maybe we're passionate about something and others don't agree. It could be a card of having conflict within ourselves over a passion we have. I.e., we've got a passion, we want to move on to it, but our mind or other situations around us at the moment don't let us. The second card from Spirit is the 7 of Cups. Now, Cups talk about our emotions, and the 7 of Cups talks especially about having lots of choices in front of us, i.e. all these cups, but some of them are filled with absolute garbage. Some of them we may choose and find they just lead us to a dead end. It's not what we were looking for. I believe this card says to us, take time, evaluate what's in front of you, evaluate all the options so you can make a choice and make a good choice. Maybe taking time out and asking your intuition to guide you to the right choice to be made in the future. And the last card from Spirit is the 8 of Swords. The 8 of Swords speaks of our thoughts and, well, swords speak of our thoughts and communication. In this case, it's thoughts. Spirit is saying we've put ourselves in a prison. We self-judge, we negative talk ourselves, we believe we're trapped in situations, and it's all our mental doing. It's all our own mental doing. We have to banish the way we're thinking about things, pull down the barriers. We may have put these barriers up thinking they're keeping us safe, but they're not. They're restricting us and holding us back. We have to take some time and remove these barriers. Start talking to ourselves in a loving and caring way. Okay, we might feel bad about some things we've done. Forgive ourselves. We can forgive others, forgive ourselves. You know, it's all part of the life's journey. We may feel like we're being judged by other people. We may feel we're being too judgmental with others. But at the root of it, our own mental thoughts have put us in this prison. And it's up to us to start changing the way we think about things, start being kind to ourselves as a human being, knowing we have our flaws, we have made mistakes, but that's part and parcel of life. Removing these swords so we can move on forward in our journey. Messages for the physical. We have the King of Pentacles. So the King of Pentacles could be that there's physically someone else in your environment at the minute. Maybe an earth sign. It doesn't have to be an earth sign. It doesn't have to be a male. It could be a female too. But someone who's very practical, very grounded, very secure in material affairs. As the King of Pentacles, he's usually a business owner, a CEO of a large company. He's made his wealth and he's made his security. Now, on the physical line, this may mean this is what we've got to focus on, our security. We may have all other aspects in our life sorted out, and this is where we've got to focus. Or it's a pat on the back that as an air sign, and as an air sign, we are in our mind a lot. We do have good conversation skills, but we are in our mind a lot. So for you to be able to come out of your mind and get grounded and build solid foundations around you in the actual physical world, there could be a pat on the back. It is in the physical line, so I do see it more as what we have to do or what is happening around us. So maybe there is a connection to an earth sign, which would be Taurus, Virgo or Capricorn. Maybe we're setting off on some kind of adventure with them. If not, it's saying take on this energy or start focusing on this aspect, the practical, the physical, the life you materialize around yourself. The next card we have is the Knight of Cups. Now, knights are young energies, or if it's a mature, like the King, if it's a mature energy, they're immature in nature. This guy is the Knight of Cups. So he could be immature or naive in love. It could be an offering of love. It could be from a Pisces, Scorpio or Cancer. Or it could be, sorry, it came that way, didn't it? It could be that the King of Pentacles or Queen of Pentacles is offering you a loving an emotional offer, or you in your grounded state of the King of Pentacles want to offer an emotional start to somebody else. I don't know if I did mention that the Knight of Cups is a water sign, so there could be a Pisces, Scorpio or Cancer in the mist. And the next card is the Eight of Cups. Now, the Eight of Cups talks about we've got to the number 8 in our journey of 10 on this cycle of emotions. But when we've got there, we've realised there's something missing. They're not quite filling what we've expected. So it's a conscious decision to walk away from something. If this has been in your past, the heartache, it's now a time to move on from it and go find something that is fulfilling, does give you that ninth cup, and keeps you on the path of fulfilling this emotional cycle. At the minute, or in the month of April, we may be reluctant to walk away from it. But at the end of the day, we know we have to. Now, it's not necessarily walking away from a relationship, from a friendship, from a family situation, or an emotional connection to someone else. It may be we start thinking about it differently, and we decide that our approach to that situation was wrong, and we have to alter our approach. We have 2 cups cards there, which, as I say, are both ruling emotions. But the Knight of Cups, even though he can be a Pisces, Scorpio or Cancer, I do see him as a Pisces because we've got this little fish jumping out the water there. Maybe they are going to help you emotionally to get past and let go, or change your perspective on this heartache that we're feeling at this time. Messages from the heart. The first message from the heart is we are the magician. Major Arcana, fantastic card. And actually this is your first Major Arcana. So up to now, spirit and physical are all things that you can control, you can bring into play. They are within your power. The Major Arcanas are not. These are divine energies that are sent to us either to protect us or guide us in a certain way. The heart is saying we are the magician. We are capable of manifesting anything that we want into our reality. We've got all the tools in front of us here. We've mastered the swords, we've mastered the pentacles, we've mastered the cups, and we've mastered our passions. As he stands, we have one hand up to the sky and one to the floor, which signifies as above, so below. In layman's terms, what we think, if we keep our thoughts positive, what we think we can manifest and bring into reality. But this card does also forewarn us what we think. If we're thinking negative, we're going to bring negative. But at the month of April, the heart is saying you are capable of doing or bringing into your world anything that you focus on. The second card is the Nine of Pentacles. So the heart is saying to us, either congratulations, we've proven we're strong and independent. This guy, even though it's a guy, it's usually depicted as a female. He's got his 9 coins here. 9 is nearly a completion on the materialistic level, and we would start again with another cycle. So we've nearly completed our cycle, but this guy has put in hard work, is being independent, is a self-made man or woman. Now this could be you, and the heart could be giving you a pat on the back, but it could be saying, the heart saying, if you focus correctly, you can be this strong, independent person with a good foundation, good material aspects, in control of our emotions, and have brought ourselves to a place we can be proud of. This card often signifies the single mother or the single parent. So it could be that You know, you are self-made, or the magician is telling you you can bring yourself up to being this independent person that doesn't need codependency, and can pat themselves on the back for how far they have come in this journey. The next card for heart is the Knight of Pentacles. Now again, the Knight of Cups, as you can see, his horse is actually walking. It's not a speedy energy, but it comes in at a gentle pace. The Knight of Pentacles, because he's so grounded, his horse is actually stood still. He's not even taking that step at the moment. It doesn't mean steps aren't being taken, but they're very, very slow because they're very secure. Each step is placed, each foot is placed on a very firm foundation. So whatever we're building or working towards, which he's looking straight at, as it comes that way, he's looking straight at the Independence card. Slow and steady progress gets us there. This is the only Knight. He is bringing in opportunities on the materialistic level, be it new opportunities in the home, new opportunities in a job. It can be a relationship, which then again would come back to the Knight of Cups appearance. It can be a relationship, it can be a friendship, it can be a family situation, something being healed and worked on in a family situation. But he is the only Knight that gets all the way through the quest to become the king. No matter what, he's the one that makes it, and he does it by slow and steady progress. Little steps all the way. Little steps that don't falter. Messages from our soul. The soul says there's Two of Cups. Two of Cups it's an emotional card again, but it does speak of a partnership. It speaks of two entities coming together. I was going to say to make one, but I don't feel that. Two entities coming together. It could be a new friendship, it could be a new relationship. With this card, it can actually be a soulmate, and it has appeared in the soul line. But a deep connection with another person. The next card to it is the Nine of Swords. This card talks about nightmares, sleepless nights, anxiety, and actually all the things that we allow self-talk to do. It's a card about letting our minds run away with us. Nothing is as bad as we think or we perceive, but we've let our minds run away with us. We've blown it all out of proportion. It's the making mountains out of molehill cards. Spirit is warning us not to make things worse than what they actually are. Look at the reality. Get back down to reality as to what things are. And the final card is the Two of Wands. The Two of Wands talks about having the chance to double, to increase our stability or move forward in our passions. But it does also talk about maybe needing to seek counsel, seek a bit of advice. It doesn't necessarily have to be from somebody else and physically going to somebody else for advice. It can be look inside yourself. Ask yourself the questions. Talk to yourself nicely. Dismiss thoughts that are irrelevant or blown out of proportion. Get to the root of what is the problem or the root of the heartache and work through it. As I've said with all these videos, Gemini, I'm not spending forever going through what other alternatives could pop up. I will only give what comes off straight away. If it does spark your intuition and you want to look into something more, I'm quite happy to do that. I'll have one scout across all four sections, 3 cards together, and if there's anything else, I'll give a recap, and then our reading will be complete. Spirit says, with stiff competition, we may have conflict. It may be conflict within ourselves because of the amount of options we've got to choose from, and to be aware that some of these options aren't great. So listen to your intuition. Pull on that side of your persona. Do not listen to the mind and how it traps you. This card is very much about the ego. When we let the ego come in and take over, we self-talk negatively. We talk ourselves out of change. We want everything to stay the same. We fear what people think. We fear judgments. And it's time to lay all that to rest. All that is irrelevant. It's just a waste of our mental energy. What we have to think with this card and the 9 of Swords is when our intuition we're in line with our intuition, we realise that the brain is nothing more than an organ like our heart or our lungs. When we step out of that and let the brain run away with itself, the ego steps in, and the ego brings nothing but fear, judgment, and all the negative attributes, our pride, and excessiveness in thoughts. Step away from the ego. These 2 cards say to me, ask yourself, does my heart want it or does my ego? If it looks good, the ego is wanting it. If it feels good, the heart is wanting it. And the same in Swords. In the physical, maybe there was a relationship, a grounded relationship with somebody. There may not have been a pentacle, an earth sign, Taurus, Capricorn or Virgo, but they had them qualities. They were grounded and well established. Maybe there was an offer of love or wanting to make an offer of love, and somebody denied it, walked away from it. Or this month we have to find our grounded, practical, everyday stability. If you are thinking about an offering of love to someone, and we have got the 2 of Cups here, which our soul says we have to be aware of. We must change our perception or walk away from something else. So we may be in a 3-party situation and we may have to walk away from one of these to make an offer to somebody else. Our heart says we are the magician. As long as we focus right and use our intellect right, we can have the independence. We can pat ourselves on the back for where we've come, how far we've come, what we've gone through to get here. The Knight of Pentacles can talk of a young earth energy again, maybe an immature earth energy, but it's a guy who sets his goals and he makes them goals. So be it you've used the Magician energy to set your goals in finding your own independence, or the use of the Magician's tools in the past has already brought us to a place of good independence. But this card does signify maybe the basis of where we are now is a good foundation for moving on and making those slow and steady steps, progress forward. Messages from our soul. There is some relationship that you feel was more than karmic, a soul connection. Either it was in the past and it's broken down, it's the cause of this heartache, or we're getting over heartache from this situation up here, and we are, by completing these tasks, we are opening ourselves up to a very good relationship. Not necessarily love again, as I say, it could be a friendship, and it could quite easily be someone coming back from the past in the month of April. Get out of negative self-talk. Do not listen to the ego and the fear base within you. Trust your intuition and yourself. Take time to go inside yourself and find guidance surrounding the situation. See it for the truth that it is, because then we can move on. Or even go seek advice from somebody else. Well, Gemini, I hope that reading gave you some insight. As I say, if there's anything that you want to pull on more with, or you've any questions, don't hesitate to contact me. I wish you all the best for April. Bye.